Welcome back. You're still watching the Business Portal on the Corporate World, and we're still talking to the country manager of Robert Walters, Mr. Monty Sujanani.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you very much for just really going and sharing with us why it's very important for people to focus not just on generalists when they hire for someone, but looking for specialists who can help the company grow. And before the break, we briefly talked about something very special that you do in the company, which is the Balikbayan program.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that for a lot of times, the mindset of people is, I want to grow as an individual, as a professional,
Yep.
I need to go out of my country. But Robert Walters, you're doing the reverse, and you're actually asking a lot of overseas Filipino professionals to think twice about staying outside and then go back to the Philippines to just work here. So tell us about that great program.
That's right. So the Balikbayan program we started about 2 years ago, just after we set up in Manila. And this is a program, as you just mentioned, we talk to Filipinos overseas to come back. You know, there's still a lot of Filipinos here who want to go overseas and gain that international exposure. And that's great, right? They finish university, they get an opportunity, they start looking to go away, and that's great. But what we realize is, hang on, what about once they've gained that experience of, 8 years, 10 years, they don't think, sometimes they don't think about actually wanting to come back. So what we do is we go out to them. So we've got a dedicated international candidate manager. All she does on a daily basis is just reach out to overseas Filipinos.
Wow.
Now, all over the world, from Southeast Asia all the way to Europe, to the US, and she talks to them. She plants seeds in their head. And so typical conversations will be around, hey, did you know that your skill set, if you came back home, this is what you could potentially earn, this is the contribution back to the economy. And many times, it's very interesting, because many times they don't actually even think about it.
Exactly.
It's not something that, they have considered. And it takes a bit of time for them to process, actually, if maybe it's time to move home. And it takes a while.
Yes.
It's not an overnight decision. And we talk to them, and again, it's a platform for them to know what's going on in the market, what are the movements, the trends, their value in the economy. And so, that's to us, how we operate our Balikbayan program. And our clients also, they want to hire people, the Filipinos. They want to hire their own people. And that's what we want clients to achieve. Our clients to achieve is to be able to hire Filipinos. And when you look at Filipinos who come back from overseas, they sometimes bring in, a different thought process or something that they would have picked up overseas that they can use in the companies that they work over here. Of course, depending on whether it works or not. But some clients actually want to have people with an international exposure who can come back and again embed them back into their local economy. So we've been. We talked to a lot of people from Southeast Asia, for example.
Yes, a lot of Filipinos working there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, we only talk to, because of our specialization, it's only within the professional space, within our disciplines. So, for example, tech professionals.
Okay.
So there are a lot of tech professionals in Southeast Asia. They leave their families, they go and gain the exposure, they get the experience, and, they work 6, 8 years, 10 years, and then they want to be back home with their families. And it's such a rewarding feel. It's so good to know that you'll be able to connect.
Exactly.
You connect them with the right opportunities and bring them back home to their families.
And the conversation that you talked about earlier with your staff, telling them that, there's this new opportunity in the Philippines, because sometimes they leave, and from the moment they leave, there really weren't any opportunities. That's why they decided to find a job overseas, and for maybe 5, 10 years, they don't know what's already happening in the country, and I guess that conversation makes them rethink.
Correct, and again, it takes time, so people that we are bringing back now, that we're placing, are people that we've been speaking to for a year.
Oh wow,
example,
so that long.
Not cases, but there's some of them who it takes time. It's about getting the message across, saying, hey, did you know, if you want to come back home, you can, and this is what you'll be earning. There's this stigma as well, and you know, they think, oh, moving back home, I'm going to have to take a big pay cut. You know, you know, when you compare what you earn in Singapore, and it's obviously Singapore's a lot more expensive, and it's all relative, right?
Yes,
so we have to
'cause your
educate.
expenses too are higher.
Exactly, yeah. But we educate the candidates, and to be honest, money is not really a big factor for them to come back.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
what is it that they value now?
It's family. It is really just the opportunity to be back home with their families and their loved ones. And I mean, there are so many stories. I mean,
What is the success rate of your balikbayan program, if you may share?
well, it's again very hard to put a specific number. To us, success is when somebody starts even thinking about the fact of moving back home. You know,
Right.
because again,
That's a big step.
we talk to a lot of people, and not everybody's ready to move back home. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said, yeah, everyone we speak to,
Yeah,
we move them back.
that's
No,
true.
it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And we, you know, once they actually turn around and say, okay, actually, Robert Walters, we're keen to come back. Can you help us? You know,
Yes.
and we do that, and we put opportunities in front of them. I'll give you an example. There was I'll share a story with you.
Of course, please.
There was somebody. There was a candidate in Malaysia. He'd been working there for 3, 4, maybe, yeah, just about 4 years or so. Happy, lifestyle great job, earning decent money. You know, wasn't looking to come back.
Right.
But over time, on Facebook, he used to see his family and friends celebrate.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
and he realized he was missing birthdays, special
course.
occasions. He would come back once a year, a couple of times a year, for Christmas and all that. But then over time, he realized, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on special occasions. And he had heard about the Balikbayan initiative, and it just reached out to us and said, hey, you know, how do I go about if I want to come back?
Amazing.
And it's stories like that, and we want to be a part of that. We want to bring families together, right? And straight away, our candidate manager was able to put some opportunities in front of him. Not the easiest decision still, because again, he was very happy where he was.
Of course.
It was not like he needed to move back. So he thought about it. We obviously put some opportunities in front of him, and one thing led to another. He's now part of all the events and occasions, and he's happy to be back home.
Congratulations. I think that's really a great achievement. Putting back a Filipino professional here in the country,
Right.
having the same amount of benefits, perhaps not in value of money, but in terms of everything else being equal,
No.
he's winning.
That's it, and it's, you know, it's important for us to know what's important for people. What are the motivational factors, right?
Yes.
And we've seen that actually it's really more the family
Yes.
and that sort of reasons why people want to come back. They're willing to take a pay cut for that, and that's great. You can't put a price around family. I'm sorry, you know, I'm a family person as well.
I
you know?
agree.
So so it's good to be a part of this mindset.
Right.
And I think moving forward, I think this is going to be a really successful model for our clients. You know. So again, I could go on and on about multiple stories.
That's great. So aside from the Balikbayan program, I know you also have other industry initiatives.
That's
Tell
right.
us about the salary survey.
Yeah, so other than recruitment, again, I think this is something that our clients also appreciate. Is we put together a lot of industry events. So you know, we are organizing. So every year we do a salary survey, and
What
this is
does
happening.
this mean? Like for people who are hearing it for the first
Yeah,
time.
so basically, we assess the salaries of our disciplines that we operate in.
Okay.
And we publish what we project next year to be like.
I see.
So we take into consideration, obviously, the trends in the market, what are the average salaries that people are drawing based on the placements that we make, based on what we see in the market. So we have a team of analysts that put all of this together.
Nice.
So it's going to be next month, towards the end of November, where we would actually, we're going to host an event for top HR professionals to come by.
Wow.
I'll be doing a presentation on what we've seen so far, what to look forward to next year, and we would segregate it by each discipline. We talk about, you know, trends in the industries and all that.
So is it a public event or is it a by invitation only?
It is
event?
by an invitation. It's by invitation only.
But the results are also. How do they, for example, so you have the event.
That's right.
After that, will the results be open?
Yes,
to
so
the
it will
public?
be. So once we actually we launch the salary survey,
Right.
it will be available, and people can reach out to us to request
Great.
for a copy of the salary survey, and we'd be more than happy to go out and meet them and talk to them about the trends that we see, and it will be available on our website. So yeah.
That's good. And at least it'll give a good benchmark for a lot of people also to strive for. If they're not yet a specialist, perhaps they're a newly graduate, they look at what the industry is offering and
Yeah.
they work towards that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the whole point of sharing that information so that people have an indication of what
Right.
to expect moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
wait. That's November. Is there a date?
Yeah, that's on the 22nd of November.
November
and
22nd.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
after that, they just go to your website. They'll be able to see the results.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a question. Perhaps some of our viewers, they're watching and they're wondering, do you also handle volume hires? And
Yeah,
how
so-
can they ask Robert Walters for support on that?
Yep, absolutely. So we are, as I mentioned, we are a specialist agency, and we cover only mid to senior level.
Okay.
Companies do sometimes have volume hires that they need some help with, hundreds of hires over a year. This is where, so we have a business called Resource Solutions, which is
Resource Solutions.
yeah, so Resource Solutions is part of the Robert Walters business,
Mm-hmm.
but we basically put on-site recruiters to our clients'
Okay.
site, and they would handle volume and bulk hires. So,
wow.
again, this is just integrating within their HR team as well. And this has been very successful because over here, for example, in BPO and shared service where, they need large volumes of hires, it's not for us, it's not our business model, but it's for the Resource Solutions business model.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a differentiating factor in terms of how many people they would need. So in terms of the speed or the duration for how they will get successful hires, is
Yep.
it a little bit shorter than
Yeah,
the ones
it
from-
is, and that really depends again, on the volumes and the number of people that they want on site. So, for
Yes.
example, if a client has, again, we evaluate the project, and then we look at basically how many on-site recruiters to put, and then we manage. Again, this is something, it's case by case basis.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I know that you're doing a lot in terms of like just helping Filipinos. Is there any way or part that you're working with the government on this, or are there partnerships with other from the private sector?
Yeah, so with, for example, the Balik Bayan initiative, we don't partner with the government just as yet. I mean, it's been new. It's been 2 years in,
2 years.
and we tested it out in the first year, and now that we are seeing successful results and there is a demand there, is that going to change next year? I don't know. It's hard for me to comment. But as of now, we're not partnering with any government agency, but that could change next year. We'll see what happens.
Monty, we're on the end of the year. It's just about 2 more months before we close on 2018. I'd like you to share, as a country manager, what are the trends that you're seeing in terms of hiring, in terms of the HR industry for next year?
Sure. So basically going into next year, and I'll give you a little bit of background for now. So we see technology, so this just coming up towards the end and moving forward to next year, technology is a huge area for us, and we see,
Technology.
yeah, there's a lot of digital transformation across industries. So that's a big sector for us, a big sort of function for us. Banking and financial and compliance is big for us as well. So we really see there is going to be fair bit of hiring next year, even with salaries going up, demands going up. So that's 2019 for us. Actually, we actually see there's going to be quite a lot of growth in most of the areas, but again, just based on what we've seen this year and going into next year, definitely technology is going to be big for us.
And a lot of companies are really considering automation and just doing things online. So
That's
what can
right.
you say about that?
So emerging tech is going to be big for us. So we, even now how we are specialized, we have consultants that just specialize in data analytics because the importance of data right now, companies want to use data to their benefit. So we have a dedicated consultant just in that. Software development, emerging tech space, yeah, automation, IoT, robotics is going to be huge moving forward. I hope one day it doesn't replace our jobs, but
course.
and it won't. I mean, at the end of the day, we are a people business, so.
And they always say our heart is more
Absolutely.
valuable than any robot
You
out
cannot,
there.
yeah, I strongly feel that, there's only so much robots can do.
Yeah.
But, it's the emotions that I think, will never be able to be replaced.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know, because I know you work a lot with specialists. And what are the things that you observe from them? Because sometimes you work in a job and they've been there for years.
Yeah.
And now with a lot of changes in just the world today, sometimes there's so many changes that people just don't know when to stop or when to just slow down. In terms of what you observe from the specialists, how do they find grounding, or how do they find the growth that they have in these different companies?
Well, I think when they are starting to think about what next and what to do, so what we do is we sit down with them and we share with them what our clients want and what we project and what we see.
Yes.
I don't really see them being too fickle or too,
Okay.
you know, I think when they are doing something that they really believe in and something they really want to do, they stay and they continue to grow their skills in the jobs that they're working in. We don't really see that many people jump around or, you know, we guide them through their career and we share with them what is good, what is not good. And so, to be honest, we sometimes do talk to people, specialists who suddenly want to try something very
different from what they're
out
doing.
of the blue, and sometimes we have to rein them down and go, okay, admire the ambition, you know, and the thought process, but have you thought about A? Have you thought about B? And there's only so much we can do, right?
Right.
We provide a consultative sort of advice and approach to the candidates, and the rest is up to them, how they want to, what they want to do with their careers. But we just come in and basically really provide them what we see and what's best for them, and the rest is for them to execute.
That's great, and that's fair, I think, because a lot of times, sometimes you think, okay, where do I move next? But what I like about your share is that you mentioned how they really know themselves, and if they know what they want, then they just really strive towards being better in their field.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of the changes that happens in the younger hires or the employees looking for jobs is sometimes they just don't know what they want.
That's right.
There's so many opportunities. There's so many choices.
Yeah.
And I guess that adds to the fast turnover of.
You would, and I think that's mostly at the, you know, the entry level, the younger generation. You know, again, it's very hard for us to comment on this because we typically focus on the mid to senior level, where people are a bit more established in their careers, and you know, now they're looking for the next big thing, and it's a bigger decision for them to move into something a bit more critical.
Because they're very talented.
Yeah.
There's so much talent in the newly graduates and in the younger pool. And so if there's a good match in terms of what they can strive for, as they see the survey, that you'll be coming out in November.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a great
all the
thing
information
to
is going
aspire
to be there. yeah, absolutely.
I know that you're doing a lot of good work. Can you tell us about the charity day
Sure.
from
So,
Robert Walters?
Corporate social responsibility is a big thing for us. You know, it's an opportunity for us to give back to the community. And so, we, you know, again, for the last couple of years we've been here. This is a global thing. We have a global charity day.
So all offices of Robert
offices
Walters.
on a dedicated day in October. We raise funds for charity.
Yeah, photos.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and basically, so we raise funds for the Pangarap Foundation over here.
Pangarap Foundation.
That's right. Yeah, and we raised over 100,000 pesos.
Wow.
Basically, what happens is we switch off for half a day in the office, and we do things to raise money. And I'll give you an example.
Okay,
So,
please.
the guys in the office put enough money for me to eat balut, which I did,
wow.
which I actually enjoyed. So, you know, which was
like
great.
balut.
It was great. You know, it took me a while to get my head around it, but I enjoyed it. It was excellent. And you know, we played games. We just try and have a bit of fun to raise money to give back to the community. So again, like as I said, we do this everywhere, and it's a good opportunity for us to let loose and have a bit of fun as well. At the same time, it's to give back to the community.
And you actually see the creativity and innovation in terms of your staff and the people you work with. Because usually for fundraising, sometimes they just go and choose a charity, they give the money, but in your case, there's this sense of ownership asking you to eat balut.
No, this is the culture that we drive within the organization as well. You know, we work really hard, but we want to be able to enjoy ourselves as well.
Right.
You know, I mean, and this is the whole thing about working in a team-based environment. You know, it's not a hardcore, cutthroat industry environment. You know, we have a lot of fun in the office. The guys.
We need more of those, like team-based culture.
Yeah,
so that
absolutely.
There's no competition that works towards the negative for
No,
the
that's
company.
right. That's right. And it's because of this environment, because of this culture that we have. You know, we have a lot of fun at work. You know, and we want them to enjoy coming to work, enjoy, you know, being a part of, you know, their teams. It's so critical because, you know, again, like as I said, sometimes you know, our jobs can get really stressful, and so it's important to enjoy ourselves as well. And
What are, perhaps as we close in a few minutes, I'd like to ask, what is one challenge that you experienced in terms of your role as country manager, and how did you overcome that given your expertise in managing people as well?
well, I think so. Challenges, it's not really been challenging. I think what we find challenging as an office as a whole is there are a lot of clients who don't know about us just as yet, and and we have to educate them as to why they should be spending money using our services. So we invest a lot of time in educating them on how we operate, why they should use an agency. You know, again, we're not the cheapest agency there. You know, there's a premium price because of the service that we provide.
Right.
And so there's a lot of, because we're new here, so we have to spend a lot of time going out to clients and saying, hey, this is what we do. This is why you should use us. This is what we can bring to your organization. You know, in places like in Singapore where it's a bit more mature, you know, where I was before, very different, right? Because everybody, it's a lot more established, more mature. Whereas over here, it's not. It's an emerging market. We're new here. So it's really getting the guys to get out there, talk to companies, meet people, share with them our stories, how we can actually be beneficial to them. So that's been, you know, that's what I've seen in the last couple of months coming here. The team's great. I mean, you know, everybody works very closely together, and it's just now, what next in 2019? It's taking the business to the next level, you know, and it's exciting times ahead to see what 2019 is going to bring.
And on that note, I'd like to ask you to invite our viewers, how can they find you? Do you have a website they can go to if they want to get your services? How will they get in touch with you?
All our information is on our website, on the Robert Walters website. So feel free to reach us through there. It's got all our contact details there.
So it's they just type robertwalters.com.ph.
Walters.com.ph. Yes, that's right.
So robertwalters.com.ph if you want to just try to see how you can find a job, or if your company is looking for specialists, just look for them and they'll be really happy to help you.
Absolutely.
So it's my pleasure to just learn from all of these insights from your company. I just wish Robert Walters all the best.
Thank you very much.
So
Thank
much.
you.
You've just heard it from the country manager of Robert Walters, Mr. Monty Sujanani. And I also hope that you got a lot of insights into how you can aspire towards becoming not just the best, but the right person for a company that will move to greater heights. On behalf of my co-host, Mr. Howell Mabalot, this is Renelyn Tan Castillejos. Thank you for watching, and see you again next week.